Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Rise Podcast. We are on episode 6, I believe, as I've been told. We keep losing track of this. So, welcome to another episode, my people. And this episode, we will be discussing meaningful experiences, what success does look like for all of us. We're each going to take turns to talk about what success means to us and how to gain success, and at the same time, how to actually maintain mental strength at the same time while going, through the success or going towards success. So in today's episode, as you can see, we have alongside me one person from the other episode, as you previously can see, Mr. Ali. Welcome. And we also have a new guest on this episode as well. As we promised you guys, each episode we're going to try outdo ourselves. And we have just done that as well at the same time. So we have Mr. Ben. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good to be here. And looking forward to this episode and talking through
Absolutely.
What we're doing.
Thank you. That's it. So to start us off, as we always do, you guys are always used to it as well, as you always watch. We like to start with introduction of the cast and the group and the guests that we have also. So we're going to start with, this time we're going to try a new thing, which we're going to start with the actual guest.
The main guest.
The main guest, the main event now we're going to get to. Usually we leave the main guest to the last, but this time we thought, you know what, since Mr. Ali and myself have been in few episodes before, it's best to actually start with the new guest and to give us the introduction. Main event. Welcome, Mr. Ben.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, as you said, my name's Ben. I am a coach for kids football and adult football. I'm also a teacher. I've been a primary school and a secondary teacher for nearly 15, 16 years now.
Wow, amazing.
So yeah, it's been a long time in the profession. Previous to that, I had a long career in leisure as well. So my whole sort of life has been revolved around sport, mainly football, but in the leisure industry. As I said, I'm a PE teacher. I specialise in PE myself, and currently also teach science. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Open
There'll
to
be
questions.
definitely there will be more to come, as you guys will see later on, and we're now gonna swiftly pass on to Mr. Ali to quickly give us a refresh. Let's call it introduction. Quick one. Mr.
Yeah, so my name's Ali, also known as Coach Ali.
Yep.
Around the area, and to be honest, our last video went quite viral. So I had a few people stopping me on the road. You're like, you're that guy from that video, innit? I was like, all right,
Imagine how everything.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So I think, yeah, I'm slightly gassed about that. So I just want to keep a consistency
And humbleness, yes.
of course.
Key. We'll speak about this in the episode. Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep it meaningful as well. So yeah, I'm doing my coaching. Obviously, it's summer break right now.
Yeah.
Trying to revive and get energy back, and then just go back hard again for the new season.
Absolutely.
Obviously, what some of you lot don't know, obviously this is my guy Ben.
Yes.
He's my manager for my adult football.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So-
You guys, you see, exclusive. We didn't even know he's a player. We thought he was a coach.
Yeah, so
I don't know about good player. No, I'm joking.
No, I played. I
Wait,
played
wait,
with him
wait,
too.
wait,
No,
wait.
he's good.
We'll get to
We'll
that.
We'll get to that one. No, I've known Ali for a few years now, and
Some manager.
Yeah.
Why did you not tell us before?
Listen, I had to keep it exclusive. I told you, main event. You don't know about
Yeah.
it.
Exclusive.
It's interesting. All right.
So obviously, I play 11-a-side football myself, and I've had Ben
Is
manage
that
me.
the Sunday league, by the way?
Saturday league.
Saturday.
Oh, sorry, Saturday
Well, we
league.
don't do Sunday league. Saturday league, bro.
I mean,
higher
big
up.
football, big
Come
Is
on,
it big
man.
football?
Yeah.
Is there a difference
It's a
between
big boy
Sunday
football,
and...
man. Sunday leagues. Do you see? That's where they break your legs and that.
Yeah.
Oh, proper.
Where you get to ambulance.
Okay.
Saturday league, bit more official, bit more proper.
So it's still the same type of level, I'm guessing. Is it semi-pro?
Not semi. I mean, we've got one of our teams for old Parliamentarians.
Yeah.
The first team, they play in quite a high league, not semi-pro, but
So what's the levels? So we're gonna discuss this more as we're discussing.
Yeah.
Just quickly go into it. So how many levels is there below the professional level?
Yeah, I mean it's amateur football. Amateur football.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if we was to start looking at professional level, we're quite a way down.
Okay.
But the level of football that we play in is still a high caliber.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's very competitive.
It is.
I mean,
he gives our Pep
No,
Guardiola.
we could use the same thing.
He still uses the same tactics.
Of course.
Same tactics.
Pep
You see that left
came
wing?
from
You
there.
see that left wing?
Yeah.
Zinchenko, and he was putting him forward. Just like Arsenal.
What do they call it? What's that positioning called when he the left back or the right back comes in?
Left wing back and
inverted wing back. I mean, that's
obviously
crazy.
That's Ben's tactics, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've obviously that's where I've known Ben from my Saturday League football.
Absolutely.
And obviously he's shown me a few things of how to kind of present myself, how to be myself, how to be an intelligent player. Basically, I think throughout there's been some challenges for me that he's kind of woken me up to. There's been times where I think you've subbed me off for just being a lazy player or just not showing my full potential. Yeah. And I've never kind of hammered him down for it, but I just say to myself, like, why am I subbed off for it? Or what? Or I'll come in and I won't be a starting lineup.
Yeah.
Do you get it? And then it's kind of humbled me, and I'm like, oh wait, why am I not starting lineup? And then he doesn't even need to explain himself. And then when he knows that I'm ready, he'll be like, Ali, go get warmed up. And then I'm like, alright, cool. I got to show Ben that I'm here for it. Do you get it? Like,
absolutely.
So he's definitely been someone that I've kind of looked up to in terms of just on my day-to-day stuff, even my Saturday, my weekends or my Saturdays.
Yeah.
From how his attitude is before we start the game, during the game, and then how he completely changes it up after the game, no matter whether you're winning or losing.
The whole process.
Yeah, that's been quite comforting to be with Ben, basically.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go into the management style, not so much to do with the football, I would say technically, but since our topic is mostly to do with the youth and empowering them, strengthening them, giving them purpose in life in general, to become better people in society, and to just in general, let's say, just to feed for themselves, or just hold themselves accountable in the society that we live in. So what would you say, as Mr. Ali was quite fondly mentioning you, and I sort of agree with his judgment as well from early stages, the way I see your demeanor and the way you come off, how would you say that, what is the number one sort of advices that you would give to new and upcoming players in general?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm an old man now.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me a long time and lots of learning to get to where I am, and I'm not the finished article. For me, one of the key things for me is that I'm always learning, but I learn with and from the children that I'm with. If we are in that process together where we're learning together, we can all benefit and we all get more from it.
Absolutely.
But my style has changed over the sort of the last 20 years of coaching. And when I first started, it was very direct. It was very telling them what to do.
Yeah.
Lots of instructions. And as I've grown, I've realised that the whole point of playing football is, one, to enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. And
to learn. And if you've got a coach standing there on the sideline shouting at you to do something, do this, do that, pass here, do this, shoot, they're not going to learn. And they're not going to then grow from those experiences. So for me, and I brought it into adult football as well, but for me it's all about ensuring that the children themselves have a meaningful experience.
Absolutely.
with what they're doing, whatever it is, going from football coaching or teaching PE, having a meaningful experience with what they're doing and being able to relate that to themselves, and being their own person, rather than what I want them to be, or them trying to be somebody on TV, trying to be the next Ronaldo or the next Messi. Be you, you know, express yourself, you know, and enjoy yourself whilst doing it. And I think that's, for me, one of the key aspects of any form of coaching. Allowing the kids to learn from their mistakes.
Absolutely.
And know that whatever the outcome they were trying to achieve, whether they achieved it or not, there's always a learning process involved. And, you know, I think that for me, that's the key, that they learn, they grow, and they enjoy what they do.
Absolutely. And this swiftly kind of like moves on to your apprentice, I would call it, so much, right? Even though he plays for you at the same time. But I don't know if he told you he is a coach himself.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Ali.
He knows this.
Tell,
I'm late,
he
I'm late
knows
every Saturday because of my coaching. He knows this.
So, I would swiftly ask you, so as Mr. Ben mentioned as well himself, him sort of, you know, bringing out the discipline and putting the discipline with it, you know, for his players.
Yeah.
You're the perfect example. You are the, you know, academy player, let's call it, right?
Yeah.
So you came out from it. You're still somewhat in it as well at the same time. How would you say his discipline and what he has instilled in you had helped you in life? And, you know...
Do you know what it is? I think one of the things that he's kind of built in me is confidence. I think one of the major factors. And when I say confidence, I've kind of holding on to this confidence for about 2 seasons now, actually. Obviously, confidence goes up and down.
Yep.
But the confidence that he's kind of given me of the position I kind of started in. So I don't know if you remember, but in the trials, I went left back.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I did.
Left back?
I went left back.
Yeah.
I mean, what position are you now?
See, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to exactly what he's saying, the confidence, yeah? He turned up to trials and his confidence wasn't high. And I know the main thing for Ali, that he wanted to get picked to play for a team.
Yes.
So he went, and I know everybody that feels like the only position that nobody plays is left back. So Ali said, I'm going to play left back because then he knows that nobody's going to play there. So he's definitely going to get picked. And that's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I know he's not a left back. He knew he's not a left back. Yeah?
So
Did you clock straight
I
away?
knew.
Straight away.
Right? And I don't think
Yeah.
at any point I've ever played him at left back.
Of course.
I think he came through the trials at left back, and the first thing is like, you're a centre midfielder. You like to create, you like to do things.
Yeah.
And then the confidence grows from there. But go on, continue.
Yes, I think literally, I think you clocked on bang on. So from I think I went left back for 2 reasons. First of all, just to kind of hide away and just kind of be like, if I needed to be there, then I'll make that tackle or make that challenge.
Yeah.
And then secondly, my fitness wasn't up at all at that time. I remember almost trying to vomit.
Yeah.
On the side. I think we played a big game. First
11
trial.
aside is tough though.
And I was like, I'm about to vomit. This is my first time coming back into it again.
Yeah.
And then I think we spoke in the as the trials finished. We kind of spoke, and he was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna pick you on my side." He already gave me that certainty of like, you're gonna come to my side of the team, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant, but then now I obviously understand, because they've got about 9 teams, 14 teams.
Okay.
So team 1, team 2, team 3. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So he's picked me on his side, and then from being in the trial at left back, I've basically gone into a number 10 throughout both my seasons with him.
Okay.
And that's quite finishing, I think, decent amount of goals, assists.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Decent goals, decent assists. Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, first season he gave me the captaincy, so
Wow.
that already boosted my confidence up.
Wow. That is big.
Yeah, literally, that boosted me up. So I felt like I wanted to carry the team on my back. Whether it was
responsibility, yeah.
The responsibility that he basically gave me, and I was like, whoa, you know what? He obviously sees something in me, so let me prove it to everyone that I can kind of be here for them and show them 100% potential. Because even at training, when we were having like 5-6 players, I was still trying to turn up, and he was trying to turn up, trying to make something happen out of that.
Absolutely.
And then the confidence that basically he just kept on saying to me, look, you can do this. Go do this. Go do this. Go do this. You can do this. Look, whenever we were like losing, and I was coming down just to get a drink, and be like, listen, Ali, I need you to carry this team. Yeah, go do it.
So he would directly talk to
He would just literally
the captain.
direct me.
So that's the responsibility.
Be like a mentor to me, basically, here and then. And then I just picked up my confidence from there, and then literally it just ended up being a thing where I was on like 11 goals, 9 assists, and it just
At what moment do you think it kind of like you woke up and you said to yourself, okay, I'm here now? So the time from the time he gave you the captaincy, because obviously there's a moment where it's like honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Cloud nine.
Yeah.
I don't know what to react. You're making some mistakes.
Do you know what it was?
Whatnot.
Yeah.
When was it?
It
like,
was
you
one of the
switched on?
games that we were playing actually, and I think we were losing. And then I had the captaincy, and then I think
You was like, yeah, you guys were losing. You said.
we were losing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I had the captaincy, and then it was just like, how can I change this around? Do you get
Okay.
it? For my manager
Absolutely.
and for my team. And there was one incident where I think one of our players decided to go play for another team, and he was playing against us.
Oh, that.
Do you get it? So then for me it was like I even my
That is the
pep
moment.
talk was guys, listen, today we're not doing it for nothing else except Ben. Do you get it? Because look, this player's obviously he's been here
Yeah.
and now he's against us. Let's do it for Ben and let's show him that we can actually unite amongst ourselves
Against him, yeah.
and go for a win basically.
Yeah.
And that I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah.
do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've been lucky in, I took over the team 3 seasons ago now.
Yeah.
And I took it over from nothing. As I said, I had to bring in loads of players. And it was tough. And like I said, the players left, gone and played for another team that we was up against. And it's a kick in the teeth. And then when you're losing, you're like, that player's on the other team going, I made the right choice.
Yeah,
But then when you've got someone like Ali who's then grabbed
Pride.
the whole team and go, do you know what? No, it makes me feel proud. It makes me feel like,
100%,
my team are playing for me.
Exactly, I'm behind you.
And they are behind me. And yeah, and as I said, that's the learning. Because don't get me wrong, Ali's saying how great I am and stuff with the team and stuff. I'm an emotional player.
Absolutely.
Yeah? And although I manage the team, I also play. And in some of the season, it's been difficult for me to be on the pitch, play as a player, and manage the team, and not let my emotions get the better of me. And I have at times forgotten that I am the manager.
You are the manager.
Yeah, and and
Let me just tell you,
Yeah, that
he's
right
trying to
there.
keep a straight face.
Of course, it happens.
I swear to you, he's trying to keep a straight face. I know exactly what happens inside that change room and on that pitch. He's done really well keeping a straight face. I'll be honest with you there.
You have
I was
to,
waiting for you to
somehow.
laugh.
But everyone understands. The viewers also understand.
Can I say the most red cards? Can I say you got the most red cards last season?
Wait, the most red cards?
I don't know if I don't.
Is that even-
I haven't. No, I haven't been sent off. I've been sin binned.
Oh, you've been saying.
Are they call
I've
it
been-
Simbin?
Yeah,
Sin
I've been
bin,
sin binned probably the most amount of times because, again, like if I'm on the sideline as a manager,
Yeah.
the referee makes a bad decision. As a manager on the side, and you see it on
Yeah,
all
we see it
football,
in all
even
forms.
the highest level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Of course.
people shouting, "Ref, that's a bad like."
Yeah.
Yeah. And the referee will turn around to the manager. "I'll stop. Be quiet." When you're the player on the pitch, but also the manager, a decision goes the wrong way. I voice my opinion. Sometimes not in the right way.
Yeah.
And then it comes across, and then I'm having to be spoken to by the ref. And when I then get sin-binned, or I'm being spoken to by the ref, and I've got other players on my team going, "Ben, calm down." Now I've lost. I'm now losing the confidence of my team, and it's taken me a few
to
times
manage it,
to
yeah.
have to manage myself, even just take myself off, take myself away from the situation to again learn from those mistakes. And we are all human. And Ali will tell you that I am so invested and emotional when it comes to the team, and give up a lot of my time to ensure that we have the team and we do
Every day showing
what
it
we're
out.
doing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm sorry.
Very, very passionate.
I'm
Very
sorry.
passionate.
But you know-
Don't be.
You know what I was gonna mention as well? It's like in football, forget about anything else, any other industries, any other career paths or whatever. Specifically when we're talking about sports, and then we mention football, the emotions that are in it is like you cannot measure it compared to anything else.
Yeah.
Like someone will tell you, like for example, tennis. Even though they are emotionals, but the person can hold themselves accountable, right? They don't have to look at someone else. Or I don't even sometimes understand why they have coaches. in tennis. Yeah, like I don't know. Like, I could be the first one, but sometimes I question
coaches because it's like coaching football.
Yeah.
But
we both teach the same thing, but it's just trying to identify it in different ways. Basically.
I'll tell you why I say this.
You get it?
And I'll tell you why. There was I think I remember 3 years ago. There was a particular tennis player that had a fight with the tennis coach. I think it must have been, I don't know, one of these top tennis players that literally left their coach to go to another coach.
Okay.
It happens all the time.
I mean, and then that clearly shows to you. I'm like, why do they even need a coach? Because they already put themselves that high regard.
But it's the same. That's when it comes to individual sports. Yeah, tennis is an individual sport. It's what one person. Same for boxing. Yeah? Boxers will change coaches. They'll change their team depending on what's happening. If they're losing fights, then obviously their coaches are not giving them the right thing. Yeah. It's the same even in football. If you're at a team and you're not performing to the best level because your coaching staff around you aren't giving you what you're supposed to do, you start going, do you know what? Yeah. Maybe I need to go and find another team. Maybe I need to go and start doing something else.
But that's the thing though, with football, there's so much to it though. That's why I say to you about the emotion side. The other sports that we just mentioned, the golf or tennis and stuff like that, like a person can manage themselves. They can go to a psychiatrist or whatever, they need to do, manage themselves personally, and then however they manage themselves internally, externally, that will come out, the results. Mm-hmm. In football, is not the same. As much as you do it internally, you manage yourself, you do whatever, go to Buddhist, I don't know, go somewhere in Thailand, do the whole thing, right? And you come back after pre-season, you're like, yeah, let's go to season. You look back at the soldiers behind you, and they're not even up for the fight. What is the point? And that's what happens most of the time. And the perfect team to use as an example would be Tottenham Hotspurs. Perfect team. You got Harry Kane, pre-season, banging goals. He's there, he's ready, everything. Looks behind him. Every single season, looks behind him, nothing is there.
Yeah.
And then guess what? The manager on the sideline gets taken out.
Just to let you know, he's a Tottenham fan.
No, but
just to let you know, he's a Tottenham fan.
It's not so much about hating though, but it's the level that I hold Harry Kane at, the professionalism that he has.
Yeah, no,
to be honest, no other player can like reach that.
Yeah,
but that's where managers come in. Do you get it? That's where coaches and managers come in.
This is perfect. He is, since you're a Tottenham supporter, which I didn't even know, we're gonna discuss this topic. Do you think a manager can change the culture of a team?
100%.
How so?
You've only got to look. If we take Tottenham for an example, you've only got to take Mauricio Pochettino. When Pochettino was at the club, he changed the whole ethos. He changed the whole way that the club was run.
Yeah.
And the team performed for him. Yeah.
But he built the team.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Then we had another coach come in who tried to change things his own way, and the way that he changed things, players weren't on board. He didn't get the players on board.
Yeah.
So that manager then got sacked because you've upset the whole team. We've now got a new manager in who is looking at playing the attacking football that Tottenham is known for, that Pochettino had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pre-season is showing. I mean, we literally played today. We were playing some next team in Singapore. We won 5-1. I mean, we got Richarlison, who didn't even score a Premier League goal, banging a hat-trick. Yeah? Right? There's got to show something for... And he came on as a sub in the second half. He scored a hat-trick, yeah? We had Lo Celso, yeah? He got sent out on loan, comes back, and now our new manager...
And then you got what's his name? Ndombele, that played for Napoli as well.
Exactly. So
they're
these
good players.
Exactly. But it's the coaching, it's the people behind that give that confidence. Ndombele, very, very, very good player. The reason that we bought him was to do a job.
Technically gifted.
Mourinho didn't like him, didn't fit into his plan. Right, off you go. Conte doesn't fit into their defensive-minded team. Yeah. The coaching, the staff behind the coaching, the philosophy that comes in, is what will make the players play to the best ability. And if they don't have that philosophy around them, they don't have the trust or the confidence from a manager.
Exactly.
Then it won't happen. And you could be the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ronaldo could go to a team and you only got to look at when he was in the Portugal team and was carrying the whole team and was actually having to stand on the sideline managing the team in front of his own manager.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was because the Euros.
Yeah, because the manager had no control of the team. He didn't know what to do, and you've got one player who has to try and carry it.
Experienced.
Of course. Yeah. So yes, you can have some sports where they can manage themselves, but having those people above the coaching staff who have their philosophy, who are able to, similar to the way that I teach and stuff and coach, having that philosophy that is set out and having everybody buy into it, and say, do you know what? Yes, we're on board. We understand what you're saying, and we're gonna play for you. Similar to what Ali was saying about in that game, we're gonna play for Ben. Showed me that we're on board. The philosophy.
The players, Go ahead.
So the thing is, the managers is you almost got to make the strings attach. Do you get it? Like everyone has individual quality in that, but it's about how can you bring those qualities in together, and that's what managers' duty is. And I think the beginning of the first season, how we started, and towards the end of the second season was a complete different ball game. Yeah. Like we almost finished top of the table. We finished second, but we almost won the league basically.
But do you think it takes time to build that? What's the magic word?
It takes time to build that philosophy around the team, right?
Yeah.
But again, from a manager's point of view, it's almost how can he link players all together? Do you get it? What source can he take from one player to another, from another player, bring it in together? Do you get it? It's like how can you connect your midfielders to your strikers? Do you get it? Like those type of little bonding things, and he done it in his own way. That like he was coming up to me individually, like, look, I want you to go carry the team right now. Go and do it. I don't know. You had your own way of doing it to the striker. Do you know what I mean? Like different ways of
managing each player.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's what they call it, player management.
100%.
Is there a difference between a player management and a team management?
Yeah.
Type of style player.
Yeah.
Like type of style manager, for example.
Yeah. So you need to have both. So you need to have your team management where everybody knows.
Manage it together.
Everybody knows. Right. This is what is expected of you. This is how I want us to play
together.
Yeah, together as a team. But then the player management is a case of being able to go up to individuals and say, right, this is your job. This is what I've seen you do. Okay, try this, or can you try and go and do that? Yeah. We all know about some of the players, that people like Sir Alex Ferguson, where he was able to go up to individual players and put his arm around them. Yeah, some players need that arm around them and that 100%. Comfort in and go, do you know what? Talking softly. There's other players that need to be shouted at, and they know different management styles with different players.
So just like a wake up call.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there'll be times that I'll be there on the pitch and I can go up to Ali and be like, you know what? Oh, do this. Yeah, we had that connection. There's some players where I'll have to be on the other side of the pitch and I'll be screaming. Yeah. And that's what gets them going.
Absolutely.
They hear me getting up for it, agitated and stuff, and they're like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Whereas if I did that to some other players, their confidence goes from here to here very quickly. If I shout at them, and then all of a sudden they're no good.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think one of my younger players that I coach, I had to identify what his problem was, because he was playing for a club. And they kept on putting him right back, left back. But this kid's got quality. The ball mastery he's got in him, quality. But they've put him on the right back where they're telling him, once you get that ball, pass it to our midfielder. Yeah. And he'll let him do the work. And I was like, this kid, he's got more than that in him. I remember the first season I worked with him, he was on like 5 goals. And these are like little lucky goals and that his parents we were talking about. On the second season, before the season started, I literally sat down with him. I said, listen, I'm going to do these sessions with you. What do you want out of this? He said, I want to be an attacking player and I want to try double my goals. I said, listen, as long as you listen to me and you put in 110%.
Discipline, yep.
I'm telling you, when I say 110%, this guy tells me to push him even more. I'm like, do you want to go get a drink? Are you tired? He's like, no, let's keep going. I'm like, okay, if that's your mentality, let's keep going.
Exactly.
So we finished this season literally on 23 goals, and he's now currently playing in the centre mid position for every club that he's playing for. Do you know what I mean? He's been signed to West Ham and QPR. and he's playing that centre midfield role. So I've literally just tried to teach him, look, get that ball. What can we do? There's time to drive. There's time to find that pass. There's time to start again. Adapt.
And you know, another thing as well is like when you kind of like, I'm gonna ask this question to you both of you as well, since you guys coach. How do you guys instill what success looks like, the image of it, to, you know, the players that you guys are managing, or to whoever you are trying to give advice to, or, you know, trying to help out? Like, how do you give them that image? How do you make them see this vivid image that physically is not there, but somehow is, you know, is there? So I'll start with.
I think one of the things that I've learned, which has been key, is speaking to the child. The child knows what their success is, similar to what Ali just said.
Yeah.
He's asked the child, what is it you want? And he said, I want to be an attacking player and I want to double my goals.
Okay.
Yeah. So to that player, that's what success looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ali's worked with him, and that child's now gone on, is playing in the position that he wants to play in, and has scored triple the goals, quadruple the goals that he did the previous season.
Yeah.
So there's success already. But with all of my coaching sessions, it's all about the questions. It's all about, what do you want? Okay. How are you going to get there? What do you think you need to do to be able to get there? Okay. And similar to when I'm teaching as a PE teacher, one of the things that I always say is I'm not a teacher, I'm not a coach, I'm a facilitator.
Yes.
I'm just going to facilitate what it is you want. And
So
I'm going
growth,
to I'm going to guide you, I'm going
Absolutely.
to help you, I'll give you the advice. And rather than telling the kids, this is what you need to do,
Yeah.
I will ask questions
Yeah,
back.
very
What can you do there? Okay? The ball come to you in that position.
Yeah.
You know, what could you have done? Okay? Or what can you see when you see that ball coming towards you? They then start thinking for themselves. And as I said it right at the beginning, that's their learning. That's them, oh, okay, so if I've got my back to goal and my defender's playing me the ball, the first thing I need to be doing is checking my shoulder. Or can I change my body position? Can I change where I am on the pitch to receive that ball so that I can see everything?
Absolutely.
Okay, you've told me that. Now let's go and do it. Okay, we'll either run it through a session, or what I prefer to do in most of my coaching is everything's in game, rather than lots of drills where kids are standing around and we're doing isolated drills. I try to do it through the game. So
is that training games that you do?
Yeah,
Simulations?
training games. So then that way they can then see success, and then at the end of a session we're always talking and asking and evaluating, and okay, what went well for you? You know, what are you going to go and practice when you leave today? What do you want to try and do better at next week, and stuff like that. So they're finding their own success, and they will always leave the session knowing that it doesn't matter what their outcomes were for that session, whether they didn't achieve them or not, they've still learned something. That's
Absolutely.
their success. They're
That is
learning,
the success.
and they're moving. They've got their steps. I always use the analogy of a mountain. Yeah, it's got to take you lots and lots of steps to get to the top of that mountain. But there's always going to be a bigger mountain. So even if you get to the top of that mountain and you feel like, I've completed it, okay,
There's
well,
even
now I'm going to give you something even more challenging,
Yeah.
because you've got to keep testing yourself and finding that new success, finding the next
Absolutely.
thing for you to be able to go on to. So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that is growth as well. At the
yeah,
same time,
100%.
which is key.
Yeah. It's a growth mindset.
Yeah.
And at the same
I
time,
think I'm very similar to what everything you've said. I just have the 1% rule. That's all I try to implement with these kids. I say to them, look, if you can improve 1% today, then let's add that up. Just like the mountain example you give the mountain, 1% rule. Let's try to add it up, and then let's see where we can get by next half term, kind of thing. Do you get it? But 1% every training we've got to improve, and I try to break down my training. So I'll do ball mastery.
Yep.
Work on their main drill. So what they ideally, I'll look at their game and say, look, this is what they need to work on. This is what they need to work on. Their main drill, agility alongside that main drill. So whether they're playing that centre mid, we'll do the centre mid role, and then agility, because as that ball's coming again, can you turn? Do you know what I mean? You need that agility in you, and then we'll always finish it up with fitness. That's how I try to break down my hourly sessions, basically, for my one-to-ones. But in that hour, how can I make him improve that 1%? So that kid that I was playing in that midfield, I'll bring drills that can help him turn. I can also help him turn with a skill.
Okay.
that can also help him turn with a skill, drive forward, and shoot. Do you get
So
it?
is it different to each player that you coach?
It is
Yeah.
different. I try to make it very.
Yeah.
And I think you know what Ali's referring to with his one-to-one sessions
Yeah.
are a lot different to
A
a team session.
Yeah,
So
very.
I don't do one-to-one sessions at the moment. All of my coaching is as a team.
As a team.
So we will do what Ali's talking about, but we'll do that as a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, we'll identify things from a previous game and go, okay, well, you know, we didn't use the width as much. So today's session, we're going to be playing games, but I'll put in rules and activities and drills and games where we're going to use the width of the pitch more.
Exactly.
You know, it could be double points if you get a goal from the wing, or you know, things like that where it's fun, it's engaging, but they're still learning, and
Absolutely.
then you then see them on the Sunday morning playing the game, and all of a sudden they do that, and then they'll look at you like,
oh, that worked.
It worked.
That works from.
That's when you know you're successful as a
Absolutely.
coach.
Yeah.
As a coach.
You know, but their recognition of
Exactly.
it working on a Sunday where they walk off the pitch with a smile. Oh, Ben, did you see us do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For them,
Yeah.
that's success.
That's success.
Early
Absolutely,
success as well.
absolutely. Even when I get the messages from the parents after a game
Yeah.
saying, "Look, oh my kid did wicked. He did the skill that you taught him." That's
Yeah.
a success from me,
Of course.
from the parents and to the
And
kid
for
as
the
well.
kid as well.
Yeah.
And getting
Yeah.
that early McDonald's after the session. Key.
I don't encourage that, but yeah.
No, yeah, but sometimes you're gonna have to. That I remember. To be honest, for me, I haven't gone to that level of where you guys are talking about playing at that level, but I was playing sort of like Sunday league a while back ago before uni and stuff like that. So I remember every session, whenever we have a good session or whenever the team has a good session, where do we go? McDonald's. So to them, that was success for some reason, right? And I'll tell you why. There's a little story back to it as well. There's a little thought back. So for the kids, especially old generation, I don't know about the new generation if they still use the similar methods. We always thought whenever you achieve something good, McD's. Did you think about it? Like I swear, like it used to be the benchmark.
Yeah.
Anything good that you did, I'm talking football sense,
Yeah.
right? If you have a really good session and you played like, say for example, for a team, you'd always go to McDonald's. So to you,
Yeah.
after that session, if you played really well, you know it already. It's like
Yeah.
it's boiled inside you. Like you already know. It's like, yep, I got 2 goals. Guess what?
I'm going to
We're
that
getting it.
McDonald's.
You know?
Yeah, and I think one of the things with that and what's prevalent in society with children these days is everything needs to have an extrinsic motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what I try to instill in all of my students in teaching and in coaching is having an intrinsic motivation. So doing it because you want to do it, because you love to do
Absolutely.
it, not because if I do it, I'm going to get a reward for it.
Exactly.
And yeah, once you start seeing intrinsic motivation, those kids that are coming to you on a coaching session saying, yeah, I spent every single day practicing one of those skills that you showed me because I want to get better, not because my dad said if I can do that skill in a game, I'm going to get McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's the difference, yeah.
There's the difference. When you start getting that again, and that's where the success comes in, where intrinsic motivation from children is the key, because these days every child is always wanting something because they've done something good.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and I think we start using those intrinsic rewards
In today's time as well, as much.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
in previous, that's why I was discussing it. Previous times, none of that. It
No.
had to be, as you said, it has to be something, the reason why you do it for.
And I mean, me
But in
growing
today's
up,
time,
me growing up, I mean, I didn't have a difficult childhood, but when my football, I didn't have, my mum and dad didn't come and watch me play.
Yeah.
You know, my granddad did. My granddad was one of the biggest supporters of my football. But
Grandparents
mine,
are
for
different.
me, it was, I was out playing football, and then my best mate, his dad said, right, okay, I'm going to start running a team. And now training sessions were on a concrete playground, yeah, right?
That's
And
right.
we'd turn up with
I
like
know.
5 or 6 footballs, and it was like we'd just start kicking the ball about. Then we'd go and play football. And back then we didn't have the FA rules of, you know, of a certain age playing 7-a-side. Like, I mean, I remember my first ever match was over at Lowell Farm
Yeah.
on an 11-side pitch, and I think I was about 9 years old.
No.
Yeah, on an 11-side pitch, and I'm like, okay. And I remember scoring in that game, and I was like, you know,
This is high.
it was it was
This
a
is the
high.
height of
It was a
success.
high. I mean, I remember crying
Yeah.
after scoring, yeah, because it's the first time running
course.
into the center of the pitch, trying to do a knee slide on a hard floor, right? And that's probably why I was crying as well, because I had no knees left. But yeah, and when I was growing up, that's all it was about. Just going out. There was only intrinsic motivation to it because we loved playing football.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think these days people are just trying to chase money. They're just trying to be the next big thing. And I think, you know, there's a lot of academies out there. There's a lot of coaches out there that try to violate that. They try to sell a dream.
Yeah.
To
Tailor
kids,
for them, yeah.
to cater for them, yeah. You know, and I mean, I work with some students who have had to learn the hard way. You know, some of the secondary school kids that I've had, and it's damaged their mental health
100%,
drastically. Where they've been promised these things where they're going into academies and, oh yeah, you're gonna have a trial for this team, and then, you know, they're used in showcase games, and then all of a sudden, nah, sorry, you're not good enough.
Not good enough, yeah.
You know, and then there's nothing there to pick up the pieces for
No,
those
absolutely.
kids.
And do you know the way they drop it to them? It's not even a phone call no more, you know.
No.
It's an email.
It's an email, yeah.
You come after half term. Sorry, your son wasn't successful.
That's it, and that's it.
So how long does that trial?
And that's it.
is
It's
that
not.
a
It's
tryout?
not. It's not because you need to improve in A, B, C, and G.
Yeah,
and
it's just,
E.
you're not successful.
E.
It's just sorry, we wouldn't.
So they put them in the what, like a boot camp, a trial?
Yeah,
right?
so
I'm
a
guessing.
lot of them these days, they will do, like, they'll say, right, you come for us to six weeks in a development team.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
not even. And it's not even.
development.
It's not even. You're part of the academy. You're development.
development,
There's
yeah.
there'll be loads of kids.
Okay.
And then they'll have like a showcase match at the end of these 6 weeks. And if you don't perform in those 6 weeks, after those 6 weeks and in that game, as you say, it's an email. So you're not been successful. There's no pointers about, you know,
This is what you can do.
what can you do to improve, or
Yeah.
this, that, the other. It's just, yeah, see you later. And then that's it. There's no follow up. There's no
such thing as
sort of
follow-up.
aftercare for any of these kids.
No.
And they're left during the 6 weeks holiday of, okay,
What have I done?
what have I done? What
But
do I
then
do
again,
now?
It goes back to this this concept that, because for me, I work in the other sectors, you know, because I work as a finance, so away from sports and stuff. So we see these things that you're talking about more regularly, whereas I call it the capitalist society, right? Even though we live in a social society, which is Europe, we still somehow live in a capitalist mentality, if you understand where I'm coming from, where people will misuse you for the sole purpose of gaining something from you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So nowadays, like similar with the example that you mentioned, there will be a lot of people that are my age, for example, that will be used for, like, say, for example, come in, do an apprenticeship, do a graduate scheme or something like such as those. They would use you for 2 years of graduate scheme or an internship or whatever it may be, not getting paid, by the way. You're doing as much reports as an actual employee that's already employed by the company. You're being treated like the lowest of the lowest, right? Like all works of everything is being dumped at you. You have to complete it, stay awake, do whatever you need to, right? And then by the end of it, they say to you, okay, sorry, apologies, you have not been successful. The same exact reasoning that you just mentioned, example. So this happens in today's society more so.
It's brutal,
So
isn't it?
yeah, exactly, brutal society. So we always go back into, and the reason why we set this up, why we set up the project Rise podcast and Rise project behind us, is to empower the youth, especially those that are like, you know, that have been somewhat sold a dream or somewhat is in between deciding what to do with their futures and stuff like that. Some of them doesn't even know what their future holds.
Yeah.
So, and this is what we're trying to do with our episodes that we're discussing. And as I said, we are so grateful to have every guest that is, you know, with us every time. especially in today's session as well.
You know,
with Mr. Ben as well at the same time. So
one thing
with you, go on.
Yeah, sorry. One thing I think you touched up on earlier was that you never had your parents coming to watch your games.
Yeah,
how was
exactly.
how was the support
The system
built around that? Or
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't that my parents didn't care. It was work. You know, they were always busy. I had younger siblings as well, and they didn't realize how good I was, and I had friends around me whose parents would support me as well.
Yeah.
They, you know, as I said, they would take me to matches. They would take me to training, but back when I was growing up, the society was different. You was able to go out by yourself, walk the streets, go to football, come back without any trouble. These days, you know, that's not.
It's
that's
more
not.
dangerous.
It is a lot more dangerous. It's not like that anymore. So, but I mean, it hurt sometimes when I would be at games and there'd be lots of parents there, and I didn't have anybody there. You know, I remember once when my mum did come to watch one of my games, and you know, she was surprised, and I more so my dad. My dad didn't really watch me when I was younger, but he has come and watched me as an adult. And I remember the first time he come and watched me, and he said after, he goes, I didn't actually realise how good you were. I said, well, you know,
that must have meant a lot to you.
Yeah, no, it did, you know, and I'm talking as a grown adult.
As an adult, exactly.
Like 31 years old.
Wow. It still hits you, man.
Yeah, and he's come and watched me play, and he's like, wow, you. I said, yeah, you know, I played decent level. He didn't realise that I played at a semi-pro level and stuff, you know. When I used to talk about it back then, being a semi-pro footballer wasn't a big thing, really, you know, unless you was playing for a professional team.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was, looking back, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so on my parents as my kids' parents for football, having them there. They're very supportive, and it's one of the key things, having that parent engagement with their children, and then the same with my own children. You know, having that key. My middle daughter, she plays football. I get down to see her as much as possible. And you know, getting my son now into a team as well. So, you know, it's trying not to make the mistakes that my parents did, and really show.
And to be honest, I will go back and say there's quite a few things as well, because I had similar situations, and I didn't obviously go to that level of watching and playing at that level. But even though it was like even the small local teams that you was playing for, the same feeling that you get, you know, if your parent is not there, and the other parents that you see, and even that recognition that you said, that's why I said to you, that must have meant a lot. Even at that old age, it will still hit you back, because all those feelings from when you was young, all you wanted was that recognition from your father or from your mother to say that, you know, well done, son, we're proud of you. And that's all they're looking for nowadays, these kids.
I mean, for me, it actually hurts me till today, because I've played at such a high level, and it happened to be where I was at my highest that I got dropped out because I didn't have enough support.
Imagine,
when I played at semi-pro for Potter's Bar, I had to rely on one of the kids to be selected in the team
for you to be able to go.
For me to be able to go to the game, basically, because we were local neighbours. Home and away games were quite far.
I mean, Potter's Bar as well.
Potter's Bar was okay, but
away from that
was just like outside London. Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So I had to rely on that player, and then the coach couldn't rely on me then as well. So I was like, where do I go from here?
Exactly.
And then it was kind of like, if I did have that support where we'll be driving to away games, at least I could potentially show. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it could have been a different story, but it hurts to.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've built up on is the students that I teach now, the older students. Them not having the support mechanisms around them as well. Me taking them to games, me showing up for games, taking the time, you know, going down to a training. I've been selected to go to this. I'm not sure. I don't know where I'm going. This, that, the other. cool, I'll take you. Let's
Exactly.
go. You know,
Because
I'll
the thing
meet
is,
you.
you've been there. That's the difference.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. And I think if we don't have enough support mechanisms out there for one, getting the kids into sport,
Yeah.
which
It'll be
we know,
difficult. Yeah.
that, you know, one of the whole reasons we're doing this podcast is
Yeah.
is around mental health and mental
Absolutely.
well-being. If we know that sport, physical activity, is
Helps
one of the
them.
key drivers in ensuring that anybody has a good, positive mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we are not allowing or giving the students and children enough time to get into those, but then also not being there as that backup when it doesn't go to plan,
Yep.
when it's not successful, being there to help them through those mental health issues of them feeling like failures, or, you know, then dropping out of sport altogether. You know, women's sport being one of the key things in that there's not enough support mechanism in place to,
Absolutely.
one, get them in, and two, keep them there
And maintain it
and
as well.
maintain it. So
100%.
yeah, I mean, support for everything, and you know, and the Rise Project is definitely doing a fantastic job in trying to
Absolutely.
increase that level of support. So I think there needs to be more done with that.
And definitely, like, there will be, as I think you guys probably discussed behind the scenes as well, there will definitely be some kind of work between the two of you for those Rise projects, and at the same time with your coaching, what's it called, team and stuff like that. We'll definitely get something on going on, hopefully,
definitely.
behind the scene. But I was going to mention one point before Ali, you was going to mention. So, in particular, because you touched up on it, mental health, especially in football as well at the same time, is that even though those people that reach the peak of football, the amount of things that they had to deal with and the amount of things that they covered, right, you can never see it. So everything's behind the scene. Even though they have the support system, even though everything looks bright and everything like that behind the scenes, but if you look back in the background and you look at their family tree or their family structure and stuff like that, that's when you actually see the whole,
Absolutely.
everything, the glass being shattered.
Have you seen the podcast of Deli Ali?
Exactly what I was going to mention.
Do you know what I
That
mean?
right
That
there,
was
I'm telling
eye-opening
you,
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
eye-opening for it.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sure, like, especially from journalism side,
That's what I was going to say.
they've
I was
judged
going to bring it to you.
him for
A lot.
so many reasons.
So many, yeah.
Even, by the way, I'll put my hand up. At times, I thought he was selfish. Like, in terms of playing style we're talking about. Never have I met, like, and then when you see a player play like that and react like that in the pitch and stuff like that, you automatically, as obviously a fan we are, automatically you somehow start to hate him, right? And then you start to hate his personality. But when I watched that the episode, I was like, okay, I put my hand up, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I literally
hand down
put
to
my
him
hand up.
for coming out and speaking. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm almost certain that a lot of people can relate
Yes.
to some of the
You've
stuff
seen the comments that
he
you
was
got.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, behind the scenes, I was having a chat with Ali about, you know, I've been through my own struggles with mental health, and I was watching back on your last podcast, and you was talking about people, younger people, you know, seeing the drugs and stuff like that. I mean, for me, I had an issue with alcohol for a small period of time. Now 5 years sober, and
That's good.
that was a key point in my life, and the only way that I was able to get out of it was through talking and discussing all of the things, similar to Dele Alli, you know, where it took him all this time to let it out.
Yeah.
It was very similar to me. All of the things back in my past and stuff, I'd kept inside.
Yeah.
Felt weak if I was going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm trying to do now with the young people that I work with, and even my own children, is to show them that as a male role model that I feel that I am towards them, I'm open.
Vulnerable as well at the same time.
I am vulnerable,
easily, exactly.
You know, but I'm open to talking about my own mental health issues, so that they can see that it's okay. It's okay to talk. It's okay to open up. It's okay to look like you've hit rock bottom or you've failed.
Absolutely.
Because unless you express that, unless you let that out and discuss what your issues you have going on or what you're thinking, you're only going to eat yourself up inside, and your mental health will only deteriorate. And that will then lead you down the wrong path if you're not going to be open to talking about it. So, you know, the young boys that I work with in both secondary school, even as coaching as young people, and then even in my adult football team, you know, showing, you know, I've been open with Ali. With most of my football team, they know now, you know, I don't drink, I don't do anything anymore. I don't, you know, because I know why and why I was doing it in the first place. So, yeah, I think being open as a human being, as a male, to show young males that it is okay to open up and talk about any problems that you have, I think is one of the keys.
I think it's like sort of like an old generational thing that we're fighting back. Whereas when we discuss the topic of mental health, the way it has been handled in, you know, back in the days and stuff like that, it's still kind of somehow our mind is locked into it.
Oh, definitely.
Which is one of the most difficult things to like overcome.
Yeah.
In today's society, the youth that are living in this society, they have the opportunity, because as a society they opened up more. Society has accepted pretty much most things nowadays, right? Whereas before it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
That's why you see most people, even because for me, even I'm at the latter stages of our generation. I wouldn't call it, I was, you know, in the olden time generation, but I just got the last few years in. Similar with Mr. Ali as well. And we've seen it. As young kids, we've seen it. We know our uncles, our fathers.
To be honest, in our culture, mental health is considered as like, put it in a bin.
There's
go
illness,
do something
by the
about
way.
it. Go
say
make
illness.
yourself busy. Yeah. That's what mental health was considered as.
You know?
No such thing. And then if you did have mental health, you're either crazy.
Yeah.
And there was no situations to it. And even if you tried to talk to your family about it, it was more or less of the thing where, like, this guy, is he stupid? Or what's wrong with him? Or he's lost it. Do you know what I mean?
That was become a feminine. It was a feminine thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a feminine.
It was, yeah, definitely. But I think there's lots of work going on these days where, you know, men's mental health is now at the forefront, and you know, it is okay. Yeah, so any of you guys watching, just to let you know, it is okay to talk, and you know, there's lots of people there that you can talk to. So yeah,
and
that's what we have Rise project for. Do you know what I mean? Just come and talk to us.
Yep.
Email us, find us on Instagram, and if there's anything that you want to discuss or you want to come into the show and talk about certain things, you're more than welcome to come on, because this is for the people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And you know, there was one of my friends was telling me, he watched the last few episodes, and he was like to me, why do you guys always talk about mental health? And I said to him, you know what? If you look at the actual, you know, bigger picture of it,
mental health is very wide.
It's important. At the same time, I'm saying to him, the things that we're discussing, even though that's why I was a bit reluctant in the whole episode to actually mention the name, but just to kind of vibes around it. Do you know what I mean?
But I think everything does.
It surrounds.
It does surround it.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I was thinking the whole time. I was like, until you mentioned the actual wording of it, mental health, and then I'm like, okay, now we're onto it again, you know. So now I know he's watching the episode and he's gonna mention that point. But I was gonna mention the point. So, but the thing is, Rise Podcast is for the youth. So no matter what we're doing, what episode we're doing, if we're talking about social media, we're going back to that topic.
Definitely,
because it's key at the end of the day. So, Mr. Ali, would you like to say?
Nah, I'm grateful to have Mr. Ben come down to our show.
I appreciate it. It's been a great chat, and I hope
there'll be more
people.
Definitely.
Yeah, I hope people that are watching and listening understand what we've been talking about, can relate to it, and you know, and have enjoyed what we've been talking about. And again, as Mr. Ali said, Rise Project is here for the youth to talk to. So if you are in need of any assistance, anyone that you need to talk to, get in touch. I'm pretty sure all the details are down below.
Down below as well. Absolutely. So just quickly, what is your football? Is it like a football?
So my youth football team is London Forest Youth Development, and the adults football team is Old Parliamentarians, both based in Walthamstow. So yeah, you can hit us up.
Yeah, if anyone is interested, whether you're a fan, whether you're, ideally a player, and you think that you could be at that level, give him a shout out. Do you have a website or anything like that? You wanna
Yeah,
discuss?
I don't use much social media.
Okay.
I use Twitter.
Twitter,
So
that's
yeah,
key.
you can jump onto my Twitter. It's
We put that
at
sign.
at Mr. A PE teacher. You can
Yeah.
hit up my inbox and
And
give
he's
me a shout.
responsive. I'm guessing.
I'm very responsive.
There you go.
Yeah.
Key. Thank you very much. And everything has been everything that we discussed, all the informations, we'll put it in the not comment section, the caption, right?
Yeah.
They call it
Yeah.
the caption section. So without
Down below.
further ado, down below this.
Down below.
There you go. We're just getting used to it, more or less. So yeah, just to summarize pretty much everything that's been discussed. So first, I would like to say thank you to my beloved guests, and thank you for partaking in this important
Thank you for
discussion
having
that we
us.
was doing.
Thank you.
Because at the end of the day, youth coaching and youth football is key to our communities in today's society. And I feel like personally, not being involved in the youth football, but at the same time, previously when I was young, I've grown up in it, I've seen it, I've got cousins in it as well at the same time. So I've seen the impact that it has in our community and the work that it's doing. Ever since, the social cuts has happened back in 2010. People know that. We don't need to discuss it in details. But, where youth centers were closed, someone like Mr. Ben, which is a grassroots hero, I would call it, Mr. Ali himself, that helped the youth, which is sometimes is key, is important to sometimes celebrate these things as well. And I want to give a massive sort of shout out to you, Mr. Ben, for carrying the community in this sense, even though sometimes you don't get the recognition that you deserve. Mr. Ali had certainly given you at the introduction part, but I would like to give it to you at the end as well at the same time. But, there's plenty other youth coaches as well,
Yeah.
which Mr. Ben also worked with. His colleagues could be one. So I would also give them a plenty of shout-outs as well. And that the youth of today, we have not given up on you. That is
Definitely
the
not.
motto for today's last episode. And without further ado, we would like to just quickly end it on that note. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you're having a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are in the world. To all our viewers, me, Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Ali on my left, and Mr. Ben, we would like to say to you guys, c'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
And goodbye in
Thank you very
English.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another Rise podcast episode. Please leave a like and comment down below.